The man was forcefully pushed onto the bed by the girl. 6 months later, the girl gave birth to a child for him. The girl asked him to take responsibility, so the man obediently married the girl. However, after getting married, Nick found that the girl dressed up seductively every day and left him alone at home to take care of the baby. One day, Nick finally ran out of patience. He secretly followed his wife, and, sure enough, in a bar, he discovered the fact that his wife was having affairs with several men. Even when they got back home, his wife remained very calm. But Nick couldn't tolerate his wife's indifference and betrayal. In a fit of anger, he pushed his wife, and this action caused his wife to hit the back of her head and die on the spot. While Nick was checking his wife's condition, he noticed that water was dripping from the ceiling. He then remembered that he had forgotten to turn off the faucet when he was giving the baby a bath just now. He rushed upstairs to check, but it was already too late. The baby, who had just turned 1 month old, died in the bathtub like this. Soon, Nick was sentenced to 15 years in prison for the crime of intentional homicide. But 5 years later, he successfully escaped from prison during a gallbladder surgery. Hiding in a supermarket, Nick held a young boy hostage and threatened the boy's mother to take him away. During the escape, he learned that the woman's name was Ella and that she was a single mother. Facing this sudden kidnapping incident, Ella was very anxious inside. She wasn't sure if Nick would harm her and her son. However, what she couldn't have imagined was that the man in front of her would completely change her life. When the three of them arrived home, as soon as Ella entered the door, she saw the news of the murderer's escape being broadcast on TV. She then realized that Nick was actually a fugitive murderer. In order to prevent this mother and son from being accused of the crime of harboring a criminal, Nick decided to take practical action and kidnap Ella. He gently lifted Ella's feet and then carefully placed them beside the chair. Then he carefully tied a rope around her, trying his best to avoid scratching her skin. This action made Ella even more terrified. She couldn't figure out what Nick was going to do at all. After Nick tied Ella up, he went to the kitchen and started preparing dinner for them. He even carefully blew on the food to cool it down and then fed it to Ella. Ella's gaze gradually changed from fear to confusion. She couldn't believe that the extremely gentle gentleman in front of her was actually a fugitive murderer.